Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, I'm going to be discussing the 95th Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which just aired this morning. So I'm doing this on the same day as Thanksgiving 2021. So a happy Thanksgiving to all you, my viewers, to my subscribers, and everything to my channel. Like I said at the time of this video, and I'm going to be discussing the 95th Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which of course is a three-hour production, which is on NBC, and also is on CBS, but I'm mostly focusing on the NBC broadcast, because it's usually the one I watch ever since I can remember, but watching the NBC broadcast, because I've had exclusive rights to the parade since television was invented back in the started in the late 1940s. So they've been airing the parade just about every year since, and since I think since the 1950s, really, since made NBC broadcasting the parade. Anyway, this year this parade was the first time in 2 years that you have a full parade. What I mean by that is because of the stupid virus, and that's what it is, the stupid virus. The parade last year wasn't really a parade per se. So try to say that 5 times, real fast. Because all they did was they moved the floats and they moved the balloons all around Macy's in Howard Square, on the flagship store, on the main store of Macy's, which is in Howard Square, 34th Street and Broadway in Manhattan, for those of you who don't know where it is. That's where they just had the floats going around Macy's, and they filmed it and put it on television. They put it on live on TV. I think it was just the floats going around Macy's. This year, because the restrictions have lifted a little bit, they brought back the whole parade from start to finish, from 77th Street and Central Park West, all the way down to 34th Street and Broadway, where Macy's is. Of course, this year started off, in my opinion, on a controversial note. Because how can there be anything controversial in Macy's parade or NBC's coverage of it? Well, this year it was, because of the fact that, because I think this is like the second year in a row, NBC, well, the first hour is basically show acts from the Broadway shows in New York City in front of Macy's. Usually pretty much for the first hour of the broadcast, and then the next 2 hours is the parade. Technically is a 2-hour show, but it's stretched out to 3 hours because that's how long it takes the parade to go from 77th Street to 34th Street. It takes them at least an hour, and it takes them about an hour to get down there, and then you have a 2-hour parade after that. So that's why it's a 3-hour show. And what NBC did was they opened up the show, hyping the live musical production that they're going to have on next Thursday, which is December 2nd, 2021. They're doing a live adaptation of the Broadway show Annie. So you can say, whoa, what's so controversial about that? Well, the controversy is who they cast in the role of Annie, and which is, of course, the main character. And those of you who don't know the story of Annie, Annie is probably an orphan, and the character is white. Right? A white, redheaded little girl with freckles, who gets adopted by the richest guy in New York, with Daddy Warbucks. And that's basically what the story of the musical is. But in the modern production, and actually you gotta be politically correct. You can't have an all-white cast anymore of anything anymore. And they cast a black girl to play the part of Annie, which to me is completely outrageous, is an insult to anybody's face, is an insult to those young girls back in the 1970s who played Annie on Broadway when the show was on Broadway. To me, it's an insult. But actually, one of them who played Annie on the original Broadway run was Sarah Jessica Parker, who was one of the biggest liberals in Hollywood. She probably thinks that it's a beautiful thing that they hired a black girl to play Annie in the NBC production. Bullshit. Fuck you, NBC. Annie is not black. Annie is a white, red-headed girl. Alright? She is not black under any circumstances. Now, I am not knocking the girl who got hired to play the part. Because she's, to me, I think she's completely innocent in the whole thing. But, to cast a black girl, who has traditionally been a white, I mean, Little Orphan Annie I think it's been around since the 1930s. A character that's been around for almost 100 years. Who's always been white for 100 years. Now all of a sudden, because, people like Al Sharpton and MSNBC and CNN, they got offended if you have an all-white cast. They insist that you have a black girl playing the main character. Which is, I don't know if I'm going to, I know I'm not going to do a whole review of Annie because the show didn't broadcast yet. But that thing really ticked me off and really ruined the whole parade for me, because they have this black girl playing Annie, opening up the parade. I mean, it's an insult to anybody's face. In my opinion, it's an insult to anybody's face, anybody's intelligence, especially those like me, from my generation, who grew up with the original Broadway show and used to read the comic strips in the Sunday papers. Annie is white. Annie is not a black kid. I mean, if Annie was always a black kid, for the comics in the 1930s, the old radio shows for the 40s and stuff like that, that's one thing. But it's not. It's a black, it's a white girl. It's a white character. It's not a black character. And also not only that, Miss Hannigan is also going to be played by a black person. So Haji P. Henson is playing Miss Hannigan. Come on, I mean, Miss Hannigan was also white. Alice Ghostley in the original Broadway show, and Carol Burnett in the lousy 1982 movie, and that movie was terrible. But the characters, it was always an all white cast. You can't just automatically change the skin color of the person because it's not politically correct anymore. Or fuck NBC. I know it's been 8 minutes, just over 8 minutes on that, but. I have to bring that up, folks. I have to bring it up because it's an insult to anybody who's white. It's an insult, or anybody who. Let me repeat that. It's an insult to anybody who grew up with Annie, like I did. It's an insult because to change the skin color of the main character, it's an insult. Now, I feel the same way if Annie was always been black and they hired a white girl to play the part, I will say the same thing. Or if it was an Hispanic girl and it made it white, or an Asian, or whatever, or whatever nationality you think of, it's an insult. Right? But as the rest of the parade goes, I thought it was. I didn't make the whole thing about Annie. Sorry, I went on a long rant there, folks. I just had to mention it. But as the rest of the parade was, I thought it was a very, very good parade as usual. Because Macy always does a great job with the parade, with the floats, and with the character balloons and stuff. And of course, this year they had practically no wind in New York, very little of any wind in New York City. So it's one of the big concerns is the wind, not so much the cold. I mean, it was a little chilly this morning, but the only concern is the wind. Because of what happened back in the late 90s, where the Cat in the Hat balloon, which of course Macy's is never going to bring that character back, crashed into a light post, I think in Central Park West, and the light post literally broke with the weight of the Cat in the Hat balloon, and it hit a woman over the head, and she was in a coma for a couple of months, and the family naturally, of course, sued Macy's and sued New York City, settled out of court, and they're never going to bring the Canada half balloon back. But because of what happened that year, because it was a very, very windy day, and several balloons broke. I think one of the other casualties was the Bonnie balloon, and there's a famous clip on YouTube on the Bonnie balloon. I think it was the same year or a couple of years later. So we always concerned with the balloons breaking, and they didn't have a problem with the balloons at all, or any of the floats, or any of the characters, as far as we know, because very rarely do they publicize stuff like that. Except maybe the balloons. Maybe if balloons breaks before it gets to Macy's, then they show the balloon on tape. But as performances themselves, you have the Rockettes, you have performers from Wicked. Other than the show Wicked, most of the acts, I have to say, and also except for the Rockettes, I don't want to forget the Rockettes, most of the acts were terrible. They were terrible. They had one show with Henry VIII's wives, and two of them were black. And I think 2 or 3 of them were black, so they're trying to publicize to hire black actors or black actresses in what is supposed to be white characters. And which he just ran the long rant about Annie. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean they should start with the woke culture crap and let the Broadway shows cast who they're supposed to cast in these roles. I mean, if the character was always white, hire a white actor. Or if the character has always been black character, hire a black character. Or Hispanic or Asian. If it was traditionally a white character, hire a white actor. Or if it's traditionally black, hire a black actor, and so on. But to have these acts just to be politically correct about it and have black actors in there. So, look at all the diversity we have on the show. Come on, that's just being kissing up to the woke culture or the cancel culture. It's kissing their asses, which is such wrong. But the parade itself, it's it is a tradition. Going back to the main topic of this video, it is a tradition, the Thanksgiving Day parade. It's always enjoyable to watch. The problem is that the rest of the day is boring as crap. I mean, Thanksgiving has always been one of my favorite holidays because you have to get up early to watch the parade and stuff. But when the parade is over at 12 o'clock noon, the rest of the day is okay. Now what? Now what are we going to do the rest of the day? Because most of the shows are either not on, or they show reruns, or nothing to watch really. Well, March of the Winter Soldier 20 times on channel WPIX channel 11. They show that 20 times, 20 times the Christmas season. I mean it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean it's a sad thing, but it's because they don't have anything else to put on, so they put that movie on twice. Well, once is enough, folks. I mean, come on, you don't have to put it on like 20 times. You don't have to put it on twice on Thanksgiving and another time on Christmas or whatever. Once is enough. But the parade is always enjoyable to watch. Of course, the big... I should mention the balloons. The big balloon this year, or at least the one that got the most publicity, is the Baby Yoda balloon. And they did do a great thing with Star Wars. In the middle of the parade, you had the Millennium Falcon flying in. I thought it was damn cool. As a Star Wars fan, as a Star Wars geek, I thought it was cool to see that. To see and the funny thing is, everybody was going nuts with the Baby Yoda character. You know, Yoda is not even the character's name, by the way. But that's what they decided to do. Courtesy Baby Yoda, and I found out during watching the parade that they all going to have like bobblehead dolls, and exclusively sold at the flagship Macy store at 34th Street about the balloons. Like a bobblehead doll version. I don't know how much it's going to cost. I don't know the price of it, but they advertised that during the parade. And of course, what I should mention before I sign out this video, of course, the running gag that for the last 2 years, was with Al Roker and a guy who was dressed up as a stick of butter. Was in a stick of butter, a butter costume. 2 years ago, in 2019, this video became a viral hit. He was in when Al Roker was coming down from 77th Street to 34th Street, and the parade gets to Columbus Circle, and there was this guy dressed up as a stick of butter. And the parade, I think maybe it was one of Macy's employees or something, was dressed up as a stick of butter, and he was kept mugging, getting into the camera, and mugging for the crowd. I mean, millions of people watch the parade every year. On NBC. So this guy was mugging for the camera, and Al was pushing him out of the way, and actually shoved him out of the camera range. And he goes, "Get the hell out of here!" and pushed him right. And that became a viral hit here on YouTube. So the next year, when they had the virtual parade, last year in 2020, here comes the Butter Man again, bothering Al Roker. Oh no, he's back! And he pushed him away again a second time. So of course, this year in 2021, you're waiting for the Butter guy to show up. And watching the whole parade, so okay, where's the Butter guy? That didn't happen. All he had was a guy who was in a firefighter costume. He brought it out, and Al pushed him out of the way. So I guess it's going to be, as long as Al Roker is doing the parades for NBC, I guess it's going. It's going to be a running gag now. Where somebody is going to bother Al and push him out of the way and stuff. But as the parade and stuff, I was looking at, except for the pitch with Annie, but I spent more than half of this review on criticizing Annie. Other than that part, the rest of the parade was fine. There was no problem with it, except for the other act that I mentioned earlier, where three of the characters were black, which technically they were all white characters. Because if you're talking about Henry VIII's wives, I don't know that much the history of Henry VIII, but they probably pick all the all white wives, and they have three of them, non-white actors playing the part. I mean, it's just ridiculous. This is the woke culture all over again. Making sure you have, you're not allowed to have an all-white cast anymore, which is a joke. I mean, it's just a joke, and it's an insult to anybody's face. But that's my review of the overview of the Macy's, the 95th Macy's annual Thanksgiving Day Parade. Please click on the video, please rate it, please subscribe to my channel, please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. And you check out all my reviews and on my YouTube channel at rallyc.com, so WDY, and that's c.com. There's a homepage to run reviewer Chris Lee Moore, and please check out all of the videos on this website. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.